You heard the sound, you know what that means. It's now time for our last segment, Restaurant Reality, where we go in depth about the tough topics no one wants to talk about. We'll provide our listeners with first-hand accounts on buying and selling a restaurant and everything in between, and education and much more, Robin.
That's right. And today, I think the whole point of Restaurant Reality is to set the record straight. And we heard the Food Network Restaurant Broker version, but you get it straight from us, the original restaurant brokers. What is this career all about? And now that Esquire Network and Food Network both have shows out there about restaurant brokerage, is the field going to start heating up, Eric? Are there going to be more people wanting to jump in where reality TV is going?
I believe there is. This is creating a whole new awareness of opportunity and careers with our food related. We tend to talk to people about, this is being in the food business with bankers' hours. I mean, it's a great opportunity, the brokerage and the value that you provide, because we get to see so many more concepts. I mean, he's a veteran. That's what he knows. He knows it inside out. But if you ask him about burgers, or you go ask him about sushi, you ask him about Mexican, he has not talked to anybody a lot of time in these segments. And as a restaurant broker, every day, Robin, we see so many different people, and from the one minute to the other, the phone rings for various restaurant cuisine, right?
That's right. And you know what's going to be interesting about this? I am going to be intrigued to see how it plays out, because the reality is folks will see reality TV and go, that's what it's like. And there's some great things associated with that. It will raise the level of interest in restaurant brokerage. It will potentially show more would-be owners how to buy a restaurant or how not. But the downside could be a lot of people who don't know what they're doing could end up jumping into the business without the training and knowledge that they succeed. You may also see a situation where folks think, it's as cool as the Risky Listings show, where everybody's arguing and not getting along in an office with one another. Or they may think, Food Network, 60 minutes, and you can buy a restaurant from start to finish. And that's not really the reality, is it?
Yeah, just like House Hunter. You can buy a house in 30 minutes or less. I mean, this is not Papa John's, guys. I mean, you have to have your time. And Robin's right about the brokerage business. One thing, there's 13 states in the United States where you need a real estate license to actually do business brokerage, which means brokering restaurants. That being said, Keith said it right. Robin and I and all our team have to do the same thing. You are going to school to learn how to broker houses. So the minute you're done with your tests, you are not better off than you were, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, before you passed your test, as far as your restaurant knowledge. And the other states, which leaves roughly 50 states, we have 37 states left that are not regulated. So any morning, somebody can get up and say, I am a restaurant broker, and they are. So you must do your due diligence. Because one thing you're going to show, Keith is going to see us on the show, and you see on Risky Listing, there's a lot of moving parts in buying a restaurant. Even if you're a great operator, that doesn't mean that you are great at acquiring restaurants. Robin and I have done this over 800 times.
And speaking of that, we've done it over 800 times, and I feel like we're getting 800 inquiries a day because the business is growing like crazy. We need to bring on talent to help handle the demand for people buying restaurants. So if you are listening to the show and you have been listening for a while and think, wow, the restaurant business, I like the business, but I'm not so crazy about, tending bar myself until 2 a.m., or I'm really better at negotiating or working with people, then you may be a fit as a restaurant broker. And I'll tell you, we talk about the skills to be a restaurant broker. Keith said, well, it's a good idea to have owned a restaurant in the past. That's a good skill, and that definitely could work, but it's not the required skill. For me, the number one thing in order to be a restaurant broker is just that tenacity, that stubbornness to want that deal more than the buyer, more than the seller, more than the landlord, more than the franchisee, anyone else in the transaction. And you've got to be willing to fight to make that happen. Do you agree, Eric?
Absolutely, Robin. In our office, our team, when we share, we talk, and anybody that comes to Robin and I says, we have a problem, I stop them right there. We don't have problem. All we have is challenges, and we have to find a solution to them. There is no problems. You have to work. You have to be dedicated. You got to be driven. Sometimes it means sleeping on it. You got to go home. Sometimes we look at each other and say, let's just sleep on it and see what happens tomorrow. And you find a solution. But you have to be very, very tenacious. And you have to be very driven, because it is a business where there's going to be a lot of people. There's landlords, there's attorneys, there's accountants, there's brokers, there's buyers, there's sellers, there's employees. There's so many different pieces involved. There's providers, vendors. And you have to orchestrate that. And a very good broker would be like somebody conducting an orchestra and make it sound beautiful.
Well, okay, I just did a quick scribble down this morning when I was up early saying what did my day look like yesterday. So Eric, here's where I started at 6:45 yesterday morning and I did a conference call with a buyer. That's early, yes, but we finalized details on a $375,000 contract and I sent the contract out to him for signature. Then I snuck in a workout and did breakfast before checking emails. Where was I from 9 to 9:30, Eric?
I think you were out there returning phone calls to buyers and sellers and landlords. I was hearing you on the phone in the office.
And then at 10, I'm back on the road showing a $400,000 Buckhead listing with a buyer, a seller, and myself. The seller was late, so I had to entertain the buyer for a few minutes, get back to the office, follow up on the buyer needs. So get that lease copy. He wanted to know how many tons of HVAC were in the building, called the original contractor, got the floor plans. But what that demonstrates is your day is very fluid, but it's also very exciting, and it's dealing it moment by moment with the buyers and the sellers. And then I stepped in, and you were doing a training class. So.
Yeah, we had some new agents, some new support staff in the office, and I was doing a training class on our operating systems. And then I had to step out because Robin, as she was coming back in the office after returning some phone calls and some meetings, I had to take over the class because I had a CEO of a franchise company coming to our office to want to talk about some franchise resale and about their site locations for the upcoming 2014. So we are both trading places here and moving along. What happened next, Rob?
I did a landlord conference call. Thankfully, he was a little late so I could grab some lunch, and then spent the rest of the day juggling details of 7 different deals. So I was chasing down a landlord to get a lease assignment so we could do a closing today. Had to work with a seller who was wanting to use me as their pseudo attorney while I was explaining that I couldn't do that. Follow up on another contract sent out to his seller. Worked with the Food Network to finalize our guest. Then got a lender some documents he was looking for so we could get another deal before loan committee on Thursday morning. So if a fast pace like this with lots of moving parts actually appeals to you and you like the idea of multitasking and working a deal, the ins and the outs, you may be a perfect fit as a restaurant broker.
Yeah, but Robin, let's have a full disclaimer. It will not happen your first day on the job. You will ramp up to this. So Robin's been doing this for quite some years. But you will be trained in our company to make it to that level and to be successful. To be busy means closing deals, means collecting a paycheck, which is a very fun way to do that. And there's flexibility. We have a lot of our agents that have been with us a long time. There's no problem if they want to take off sometimes at 3:30 in the afternoon and go see one of their kids recital till 5:30. They have the ability to do that. When you have a restaurant, it's probably a lot tougher to be able to execute on that. So if you had a life in the restaurant business and say, hey, I'm ready for a change of pace where I want to leverage my contact, I like to be busy, because obviously we know restaurant owners love to be busy. I mean, that's what they drive for. They want these restaurants to be packed. Well, your day here will be packed, but with more control over your life. And a lot of time, honestly, nights, weekends, that's when the restaurants are working really hard, so you can enjoy time with your family. We have one of our franchisees that said, as for his first year, said, this is my first Thanksgiving with my family, Robin. You remember when he said that to us?
Absolutely. And right now, our business is on a growth into the stratosphere. So we need about 3 more agents in Atlanta alone to help us do this, as well as franchisees all over the country. So we're getting more leads than we can handle. You want to know more about it? Send us an email to eric@wesellrestaurants.com or give us a call at 404-800-6700. Remember, you're talking to Eric and Robin Gagnon. We are the restaurant brokers. We're helping you satisfy your appetite for acquisition, feed the need for restaurant reality, and serve up a recipe for business success.